I think another thing that's also, while the product on the field hasn't been great over the last 4 seasons, you're still going to, the way things are going, you're probably going to play in a stadium that's close to full, or a lot more people are going to be allowed in than were allowed in this past season. You're going to have 80,000 people. You're going to have the Notre Dame game will be on national TV. The Clemson game will be on national TV. The Miami game will likely be on national TV. The Florida game will probably be on national TV. I bet North Carolina's on national TV. You're going to have all these games. You're going to get that exposure. And honestly, it's going to be the point where this Florida State team in 2021 can't do worse than last season's team. So you're going to get a chance to play. You're probably, if you're a 5-star, you're probably going to play early on in the freshman season. You're not going to redshirt. So you're going to get a chance to play early on national TV night before Labor Day against and continue to play. I think that's sexy in the eyes of a lot of 18-year-olds who just want the exposure and want to be told how great they are. So that's why I think you'll have these guys continue to come around. Now, I have a question for both Logan and James, because James talked about a little bit about now what you're going to do against Notre Dame. For both of you, and I'll start with Logan and then go James, what does Florida State have to do in that Notre Dame game? Obviously, we're going to probably come into that game heavy underdogs to Notre Dame. What does Florida State have to do in that game to prove there's progress and to keep this recruiting class in that momentum? Obviously, we got 6 months to go until this game, but what do we need to do at that game?
Right now, I have no clue. I have zero clue because I don't have a spring yet. Like I said, I'm not giving any predictions until I have a spring game in front of my eyes. The only prediction I'll say is the defense has got to be ready to play. I don't care that Notre Dame lost their veteran quarterback. He's gone. Notre Dame's still going to have a quarterback there. And from what I saw last year, Deer Lake Middle School here in Tallahassee could have competed against Florida State's defense with their talent, the talent that it had, where the players were being put at, Hammy Gaynor and red zone packages and not using him in the middle of the field. Little things like that was atrocious. I hope that was to be blamed because of not having a spring and not knowing where your guys fit the best, not knowing who your true starting corner is, opposite of Asante Samuel Jr., having guys in there that at linebacker that shouldn't be in there much longer and taking that long to throw out number 35. There's a lot of question marks on that defense before I can predict anything of how that game's going to go, where Florida State can take advantage and win. Offensively, I feel fine. Running back unit's going to take care of work. I do think Coach Atkins, another year, that whole unit too, we're bringing back practically everyone. I think the offense is going to be fine. The biggest question mark, you got to be ready to play defense. You have all the advantages of the world. You're in Doak Campbell Stadium. It's going to be packed, looking like a full stadium, going to be loud. But you just cannot let Notre Dame go down the field down and back, down and back, down and back. It just can't happen. To me, it's just going to be defense that I'm thinking about throughout this whole spring, who fits where, who fits best. And I want to know who the true starting corners are going to be. That's going to be the biggest question in front of all this. I kind of know who my DNs are and my defensive tackles, but who are going to be my true starting cornerbacks heading into the spring game? I want to know who they are going to be. So that's my question marks.
I want to know if you're going through an earthquake right now in Tallahassee. Is it just me?
It looks like it. I can't figure out where to put my webcam, but I think it is. I think there is an earthquake happening.
I'm just making sure something's happening in the capital city right now. I don't know if we need to call it, FEMA or something.
Something's happening. It is shaking. I'm not even moving really. I'm just like talking.
James, Logan's not making a prediction, but what do you think? And I'm not asking obviously for a prediction, but what does Florida State have to do in that Notre Dame game to keep the momentum going?
Make it a game. It's really simple. It's not
what does that
mean? Don't get beat by a drum. I mean, score 21 points. There's a lot of things that I always judge guys on. So if a coach is a defensive coach and they're losing games, but they're losing games close, then that coach is still pretty good. He's got a good grip on what's going on, especially at one of the top schools. So if we're an offensive school, we're an offensive-minded place, we should be scoring points, or we should look like we're moving the ball down the field effectively. We should be able to exploit and create mismatches, no matter how bad people think these guys. A lot of the guys that did transfer out are going to other Power 5 schools. These are toys that other people want to play with. They're not just broken toys. These are toys that other people want to play with. So you should have been able to put up more points against Notre Dame. I just can't fathom it. And even I'm giving the excuse and the grace of COVID. Ian Book was on my radio show because he trains in Jacksonville with my partner Denny off and on. And he gave this great point. And this is from a player, but this is a point that I pointed out. Yeah, you only get 15 practices in the spring. It's no miraculous thing. You got that and more when they allowed us to start practicing like the third week of July. So all the way up, and then camp you didn't see a game for almost 2 months while you were in camp. You got spring. You got now your weights and other things that were not as good as or as optimal as you would be, but you were across the board. Everybody had the exact same thing. Everybody had the Zoom meetings. To be honest with you, I've seen Zoom. I've done a lot of Zoom meetings lately. I've actually done training with kids over Zoom, high school kids. A focused athlete can go in and accomplish a ton of things. If I can see kids get gains, run faster 40s, jump higher, and do this stuff as a 15 to a 17-year-old, I expect a 18 to 24-year-old whose sole purpose of it being in school is to achieve their aspirations of playing in the NFL. Again, and I'm not bashing it. I don't want to even relive it. I just don't want to hear excuses. I want to see results. As my mama says, I don't want to hear about the labor. Show me the baby. And the baby is competent win. So I'm saying this, we go out, we put up 21 points against Notre Dame. I'm not expecting the defense to be able to fully stop them. I don't really know it, like Logan said, until I get over there. But if you're talking about a 35-21 football game, or you're talking about losing by 2 scores, that's a competent football game because you have no idea when you lost when those 2 scores came. If it's a game into the fourth quarter, you're showing progress. Progress isn't like driving to the 40, going for it on 4th down, and then giving the other team a short field or showing spurts. Progress is actually playing competent football. So that's really my whole stake on it. But I'm excited about it. And like Logan said, and I guess actually I never even thought about it like that, but what better selling point? Notre Dame, Clemson, Miami, Florida, North Carolina, all going to be on primetime. Basically, no matter what, if you could go to Alabama, you can go to those other places, but you can't say that if I go to Florida State and I don't shine, that I can't go to the league, because you have 5 opportunities to play in front of a national audience and become a household name. If that scares you, then you're not who I want.